You probably think sleeping 5 hours a night just makes you tired, a little foggy, a little irritable. Maybe you drink more coffee, push through the day, and tell yourself you will catch up later. But that belief is dangerously small. Because when you cut sleep down to 5 hours for 30 days, the first thing you lose is not comfort, it is command. Your brain does not simply get less rest. It starts operating like a city trying to function during a rolling blackout, with traffic lights failing, garbage piling up, emergency systems stalling, and the people inside insisting everything is still basically fine. That is the trap. Sleep loss does not always announce itself like a disaster. At first, it can feel almost ordinary. You answer messages, you go to work, you hold conversations, you keep moving. But under the surface, your brain begins paying for every missing hour in the most expensive currency it has: attention, emotional control, memory, recovery, and judgment. And the most disturbing part is that you often notice the damage later than it begins. By the time you feel that something is seriously wrong, the machinery has already been grinding under pressure for days. Stay with this, because the deeper you go into this timeline, the stranger and more serious the changes become. After the first few short nights, your brain starts losing precision. Focus becomes slippery. You read the same sentence twice. You walk into a room and forget why you came. Names hover just out of reach. This is not laziness, and it is not weak discipline. During normal sleep, your brain sorts, stabilizes, and stores what mattered during the day. It's like a librarian, an electrician, and a cleaning crew all working the night shift together. When you only give it 5 hours, that shift gets cut short. Some memories never get filed properly. Some connections stay weak. Some mental clutter simply stays on the floor, waiting for you in the morning. Then comes the emotional distortion, and this is where short sleep starts acting like a thief. It steals your buffer. The part of the brain that helps you pause, weigh consequences, and keep your reactions in proportion starts losing authority. At the same time, the systems linked to threat and emotional intensity become louder, so a small frustration feels bigger than it should. A neutral look from someone else feels colder. A delay, a mistake, a minor inconvenience can land with the force of a personal attack. You're not imagining that edge. Your brain really is becoming less diplomatic and more reactive, like a smoke alarm that starts screaming over burnt toast. By the end of the first week, the damage gets more practical and more dangerous. Your attention begins to break in tiny, invisible gaps. These are the moments that make people miss exits, skim over details, send the wrong email, forget a pot on the stove, or stare at a screen while their brain quietly drops offline for a second. That is the ugly irony of sleep deprivation. It can leave you upright, talking, and technically awake while parts of your performance are already collapsing. You feel present, but your processing speed slows, your accuracy slips. Your brain keeps trying to save energy by cutting corners, and real life is not kind to corners. Now it gets worse, because your brain does not suffer alone. It starts pulling the rest of the body into the mess. Short sleep changes the way you handle hunger, reward, and impulse. Food looks more tempting. Sugary and salty things seem louder, brighter, almost more persuasive. That's not a failure of willpower. A tired brain becomes more interested in fast reward and less interested in long-term restraint. It wants relief now, quick pleasure, easy calories, something dense, comforting, and immediate. So the same brain that is struggling to focus is also nudging you toward choices that make energy swings worse, mood less stable, and the next night harder to recover from. It's a cruel loop, almost sarcastic in its design. In the second week, another hidden cost starts building. Your brain becomes worse at recovery even while you are technically sleeping. Deep sleep and dream-rich sleep each do important jobs. One helps restore the body and support clean, stable brain function. The other helps process emotion, learning, and adaptation. When sleep is shortened night after night, your brain starts treating rest like emergency rationing. It tries to protect what it can, but it cannot fully finish the work. Think of a repair crew ordered to rebuild a damaged bridge every night, then forced to leave halfway through because dawn came too soon. The bridge may still hold traffic for a while. That doesn't mean it's sound. And here's the twist many people never see coming. Around this point, you may start feeling weirdly adjusted. Not good, not sharp, just used to being tired. That adaptation is deceptive. Your suffering may feel less dramatic, but your brain has not magically recovered.
Research on sleep restriction has shown this pattern again and again. People begin to underestimate how impaired they are even while their performance keeps dropping. That's what makes chronic short sleep so dangerous. It doesn't only damage function, it also damages your ability to accurately judge that damage. You become the unreliable narrator of your own decline. By the third and fourth week, the effects get more heavy, because now the problem is not just one bad night or one rough stretch. Now your brain is living in a different climate. Stress feels stickier, motivation becomes harder to summon, patience thins out. Memory feels less trustworthy. Creativity narrows. You stop feeling like the full version of yourself and start operating like a reduced copy, a dimmer printout of the original file. Even pleasure changes. Things that should feel satisfying can feel flatter, while irritations feel amplified. This is one reason long sleep restriction can quietly resemble burnout, anxiety, low mood, or simple personal failure. People blame themselves for a brain that has been underfed for a month. But the deepest reveal may be this: sleep is not passive time, it is active biological defense. During healthy sleep, the brain does some of its most important housekeeping. Waste products are cleared more efficiently, circuits reset, hormonal signals rebalance, learning gets reinforced, emotional experiences get processed with less raw charge. When you keep slicing sleep down to 5 hours, you're not merely borrowing time from the night, you're cutting away hours your brain was planning to use for survival-level maintenance. It's like shutting down the water system to save money while the building still burns, then acting surprised when the walls start warping. So what does 30 days of 5-hour nights really do to your brain? It turns small compromises into a system-wide strain. It makes memory less reliable, attention less stable, appetite more manipulative, mood more volatile, and recovery less complete. It teaches your brain to live in a narrower, harsher mode where short-term coping replaces long-term repair. And the ugliest part is how ordinary it can look from the outside. You can still show up, still smile, still answer when someone asks if you're fine. Meanwhile, the brain inside your skull is working with less margin, less clarity, and less protection than it was built to have. The good news is that this is not a life sentence. The brain is not fragile glass. It is adaptable, hungry for recovery, and often capable of remarkable rebound when you finally give it what it's been begging for. But that recovery starts with honesty, not with bragging about functioning on less, not with pretending exhaustion is discipline, not with treating sleep like wasted time for people who are not ambitious enough. Real control begins when you stop glorifying depletion and start protecting the one organ that interprets your entire life. Because when sleep shrinks, your world shrinks with it. Your thoughts get rougher, your emotions get louder, your choices get weaker, your future self gets handed a bill your present self kept delaying. And once you understand that, sleep stops looking like a luxury. It starts looking like brain protection, identity protection, reality protection. If this made you rethink your own nights, drop your sleep habits or your biggest struggle in the comments. And if you want more deep breakdowns on what hidden habits are doing to your brain and body, stay here for the next one.